Hope so you all are fine. Students, in the previous class, we have started the third topic, third chapter, in fact, the kinship caste and the class. In that, what we have discussed that what changes actually took place, and those changes from where we are getting, like we can get those changes known through the text, through the text, Mahabharata. Okay, then we learned in the previous class that how Mahabharata was compiled, because it is not like that only at one point of time only Mahabharata has been written. It took many years, in fact, many periods, because many different rishis they have written in that account. Now today we will learn, how critical the edition of the Mahabharata is. Then we will learn about the kinship marriage. Many rules and regulations were there at that time, which were practiced. We'll learn from today. Okay. Now the first topic, the critical edition of the Mahabharata. In 1919, under the leadership of a noted Indian Sanskrit V.S. Sudhankar, a team of scholars initiated the task of preparing a critical edition of Mahabharata. As I have told you that, no doubt it has been Mahabharata. Actual war have been took place in 1950 BC around, or much earlier you can say, but. They have the in 1919 it was in a proper way. It was written, because the Mahabharata which we read now, which we purchase now, is the Mahabharata which is written around 1919, which was actually not written, you can say compiled around. Okay, initially they collected Sanskrit manuscript of the text written in variety of languages from different parts of the country. The team compared verses from each manuscript. As I have told earlier also, they used to collect Sanskrit manuscripts of the text in different languages. Okay, and then they used to compare, and whatever thing they are finding common in that, they have written that only. Ultimately they selected the verses that appeared common to most versions, and published these in several volumes running into over 13,000 pages. The project took around 47 years to complete. This point also I discussed in the previous class, that it took around 47 years to compile this whole Mahabharata. Okay, whatever thing which they are feeling that they it is like whatever practices which they according to them was good for the society, or which were very common, which the society can accept, they have written. Other things they have molded, they have changed a little bit, but the central story remains the same. That was what the fighting of Kauravas and the Pandavas. There were several common elements in the Sanskrit version of the story, evident in manuscript found all over the subcontinent from Kashmir to Tamil Nadu. Okay, now, also evident there were enormous regional variations in the ways in which the text has been transmitted over the centuries. These variations were documented into footnotes and appendices. See, as this text has been written in different languages, like in Telugu also, in Sanskrit also, in Malayalam also, different languages, and whatever thing which they are finding, because when the text is written, okay, so they have what they have done at that time, whosoever was writing, he has written, you can say, he has given his perspectives also. So those things which are actually very regional, which will fit into a particular region only, okay, it has been written in the footnotes at the downside. Okay, now rules and varied practices in the early society. Now, what were the rules according to the Mahabharata? What were the rules, regulations that was followed at that time? And many of the rules and regulations are followed now also. Okay, now rules about the families, that is kinship. Families are usually parts of larger network. Like kinship, I told you, kinship is what they are relatives, blood relations, you can say. Okay, So families are usually parts of larger networks of people defined as relatives, or to use more technical term, kinfolk. Okay, they are what? They are basically relatives, their blood relationships. Okay, now, see, we notice that not all families are identical. All the families, it is not necessary that they are identical. They vary in what? In terms of members. Because in some families, there might be four people. In some family, there might be, many people can survive in different families. We have a different structure. Okay, their relationship with one another. Okay, their relationships are also different. Some are brothers, sisters, like this. Okay, the kinds of activities they share means every person is having a different role in their family which they have to perform. Okay, sorry, so that's why the kinds of activities they share. Okay, like women at that time, what they should do, then men what type of work they were doing. Okay, like this. What type of you can say activities, in the sense that some are going for just you can say out of the house just to earn some livelihood. Different families have different structures. Okay, now family ties are often regarded as natural. Why it is so? Why the family ties are actually regarded as natural? Because it is based on blood. They are defined in in many different ways. For instance, some societies regarded cousin as being a blood relation, whereas others they do not. Okay, now also own blood relation is considered very important. Okay, like your own brother will be very important to you in spite of your cousin brothers. So it depends. For early societies, historians can retrieve information from the elite families fairly easily. Now also, if you say that the persons or the people who are from the who are having the elite background, who are actually very elite, who are very rich, obviously their family structure we all know. Like for example, we talk about any actor or actresses, then we know, okay, he is having this, he is married to this guy, then they are having two kids, like that. Okay, so at that time also very important people, or the kings, their structures were very easy to find out. But to find out the family structure of the lower or ordinary people, it was very difficult. Okay, historians also investigate and analyze attitudes towards their family and kinship. They are very important because they provide an insight into the people thinking. Okay, like what type of attitudes you are having with your cousins, what, okay, cousin or your parents, it is also very important because there are certain structures that you have to follow your your father, or you have to do work according to what he is saying. Okay, it is likely that some of these ideas would have shaped their actions, just as actions may have led to changes in their attitudes. Okay, so I think so. It is this topic is clear. Now moving towards the next topic. Now, rules about paternally. Now we are all aware about paternally or patriarchal society. It is trying to say, in patriarchal society, what is done? The property of the father is given to the male child only. Okay, in fact, in some societies, the property, it has not been divided equally among their children. But in some society, we find that the property, if the father is having the four sons, it has been divided equally. But in some cases, it is not. The elder brother was having, like in, if you talk about Mughal emperor, now in that what happens, Mughal time, the elder son was having the whole property. Okay, due to which if the lower one, the lower son, or the the third or the fourth son, if he wants to acquire the throne, then he have to fight with his brother. Okay, so over here paternally means tracing descent from father to son, grandson, and so on. means property has been shifted, all the rights, everything. Okay, now maternally it is opposite to it, and the term used when descent is traced to the mother. Okay, now at one level, the Mahabharata is the story about paternally. How could you say like that? That Mahabharata is the story of the paternally? Because all the fight is for the land, is for the throne. Because we know about the story of Mahabharata that the Pandu was actually he was actually the smaller child. He was the second child. Okay, but then also he ascended the throne because his brother was not able to see. He was having, he was blind. So by that, see students over here, you can see many things. Like if that the king is blind, he is not able to rule. He is not able to acquire the throne. So what does it shows? That the society was free to choose his king. Okay, and the person who is having such type of inability was not considered as king. So according to the rule, you can say that the person who is having any type of inability would not be considered as the king, and that too, the people, they have the right to choose. Okay, so it proves that at that time inheritance was not so strongly subjected. If the inheritance would be there, strong inheritance would be there, then the blind child would have acquired, but it was not like that. Okay, so Mahabharata is a story of a paternally, because Pandu's son, who are known as Pandavas, were fighting for the throne, because the earliest, the Yudhishthir, the biggest one, was he was decided by the people to achieve the throne. But Duryodhana, who was Kaurava, okay, he did not want, because he was thinking that his father was the biggest among them, but due to his blindness he was not able to get the throne. But now I am, means Duryodhana is self sufficient to rule, so why could I not be the king now? Okay, so the Mahabharata is the story of the paternally. Like, it describes a feud over land and power between two groups of cousins, the Kauravas and the Pandavas, who belong to a single ruling family. Okay, that of the Kurus, a lineage dominating one of the Janpadas. We have learned that in the previous chapter, one of the Kurus is one of the Janpadas. Okay, under paternally, sons could claim the resources, including the throne, in the case of king of their fathers when the fathers died. Okay, means male were authorized to take the throne of the, if the father was the king, or if he is the normal person, then male was authorized to have the property or the resources whatever his father was having. But there are exceptions. Now students, remember, just recall in the previous chapter what we have studied. No one, not able to? A lady who was giving land grants. Okay, Prabhavati Gupta. In a very exceptional circumstances, women such as Prabhavati Gupta exercised power. In previous chapter also we have studied that she was the lady who was said that he used to give land grants, okay, to the Brahmins. So at that time, land grant was not given by the woman, but he was having so. At that time we studied what, that firstly it is that she is an exceptional, because we do not find many cases, and from that we can predict that only it might be the elite families, or the king, the in the kingdoms, in the family of the kings, it is like that the females are allowed to give land grants, or the rules or norms written by the in the Dhan Sutras, not followed by the elite people. Okay, it was not followed so rigidly. Okay, the concern with the paternity was not unique to ruling families but also in ordinary families. Now, this thing, the paternity means the father's property will be achieved by the son. It is not up till the ruling families. Society was also following those norms itself. Okay, now students, up till here, I have just discuss two topics. Up till here, I do not think so. You would be having any problem. But then also, I'll just recapitulate what we have studied. We have studied today about the critical edition of the Mahabharata, that around 1919, the leadership of V.S. Sungthankar, many other scholars also, they collectively they published Mahabharata, and it took around 47 years. Okay, and everything, by comparing the Sanskrit text, everything which was common, it was noted down, and others which were not actually common, or it has been molded, or if the regional differences are there, then it has been written in the footnotes. Okay, then we studied about the rules and practices, like about the families we read. Okay, that at that time there were families, and which differ in their structure, like how many members are there. Okay, but they were what the common thing was, that they were sharing the food and other resources, living with each other, and perform ritual practices together. Okay, but it depends on the attitudes of the person, that what type of attitude the person is having. Okay, now we studied about the idea of paternity, that the property or the resources of the father would be given to the his son only. Okay, and the exception was Prabhavati Gupta. Okay, and after the father's death, all the property will be given to his son. So, students, hope so this topic is clear. Now, assignment: describe the various stages through which Mahabharata was compiled in 20th century. Now, the second question: list the rules and practices followed during the early societies. Okay, see students, there are many rules and practices. Okay, we'll do in the next chapter. But up till here, you have to, whatever we have studied, you have to list the rules and practices followed during early societies. Then third is Mahabharata is a story about paternity. Now you have to justify this. Okay, hope so students, up till here the topic is clear. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.